Staring into Kingdom Hearts is like chugging a hot steaming cup of Tetsuya Nomura's id. Some people are fine with that. Some people are disgusted by the mere premise. But for more than a decade now, this unholy union of various Disney properties with the Final Fantasy equivalent of Cartoon All-Stars to the rescue has officially been a thing. And in an era where said Final Fantasy lineage was considered slumping, despite the existence of the woefully underrated 12 and suddenly resurgent 14, it got a lot of attention for being immediately recognizable by Western audiences while incorporating action RPG elements and lots of belts. A hell of a lot of belts and zippers and keychains. Hell, keychains are a plot point. This is the one game that can say that. And because we live in this particular era of easily polished graphical improvements, Sora and pals find themselves migrating onto the PS3 because that PS2 game came out way back in 2002, and who wants to go back and play that thing? I ask you.
See ya! Fire!
Okay, I'm gonna try to spill the name of this thing without grimacing. Kingdom Hearts HD I.5 Remix. Yes, I.5, not 1.5, as the second one is I.5, and that's gonna force a grimace, I know it. Bundles together 3 chapters of the story onto one disc. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix is, now follow me here, basically the English version, but which was re-imported back to Japan in the style of all those international versions of Final Fantasy that we always miss out on. Aside from some cutscenes and bonus endgame content, it's still the Keyblade swinging adventure you're familiar with. The second game, though, was entirely changed. Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories is a PS3 update of the PS2 remake of the Game Boy Advance adaptation that uses most of the same places and concepts from the original Kingdom Hearts. Only now it's a card battle game, because it was 2004 and freaking everything was a card battle game at one point or another. The last inclusion is kinda weird. Kingdom Hearts 179 days. Wait, that's not a fraction? Shit. Alright. Kingdom Hearts 358 days over 2. Look, I told you the names were pretentious. Anyway, this game about a bunch of nobodies originally happened on the DS, which makes it weird to port to the PS3. So Square took the most drastic approach, stripped out everything but the cutscenes, polished those up real good, and turned it into one huge 2.5-hour movie. No gameplay whatsoever. You sit back, obtain popcorn via legal means, and watch 2.5 hours of teenagers sitting on a ledge eating what I'm told is sea salt ice cream. And you try not to retch at the very concept. Even Masahiro Morimoto wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
What's wrong? I thought you'd wolf it down.
But we're not here to cringe at ice cream, we're here because it's a juiced up reissue of what were, relatively speaking, fairly recent games. Most of the overhaul is visual, increasing polygons and smoothing textures and the like, and it's not too tough to see the difference. The audio performance, however, didn't have much it had to improve, as there's a more negligible gap between the musical capability of the PS2 and PS3. Each game, or game-like substance, does include some extra cutscenes, because I guess if you're going to redo all the assets, you might as well get some more mileage out of them, as well as the requisite spate of trophies. It's a great primer on the series, and a comprehensive first step for anyone who wants to learn what all this sea salt fuss is about, but if you already own the 3 games in question, it's a much harder task to justify paying for a few more slivers of plot and better graphics, especially with how much a burger costs at Disney these days.